Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. Other sleuths bow out of the Jay Slater case.
So I made a decision this morning, despite saying over the last couple of days that we were going to do some comparison work on the statements made in the Jay Slater case. I'm going to follow in Wax Unfiltered's footsteps, and I'm going to just step back completely from the Jay Slater case because there really is no point at this point. You know, Jay will never see justice. And it really is one of those cases where it really does depend on the family now and what they say, whether anyone continues to cover it, I imagine, because from reports from inside of what was going on yesterday at the inquest, Jay's mum was satisfied with what kind of the outcome was of the inquest, accidental death, which means she was asking people just to let Jay rest in peace, and we will always respect a family's wishes like that. Apparently, Warren was not accepting of the outcome, but however, it would need to be Warren who needs to trailblaze justice for Jay, and maybe make some posts or request some kind of justice for Jay Slater before people get involved or cover the case, because without sounding rude, there are so many cases where the families do want justice and do want to kind of speak out, and it really does have to come from families first, because otherwise the hatred you get online for talk about these things, when the mum has already said, like, leave it alone, let Jay have justice, so let Jay rest in peace, sorry. So I personally will not be covering any more Jay Slater videos or lives until the family say something first.
That was Hayley Comic. Do go and subscribe to her. People, she covered the case for a long time, since the early days, even before me. And that was one of the reasons why I actually started talking about, obviously, the Jay Slater case. And it seems like Wax is obviously going to wait to probably maybe hear something from Warren, or whether he wants to take things further, or whether he's decided to leave it. But like I said, we do respect what Debbie said in that case, that it must be left alone, basically, because obviously at this present moment, let's just say the family have decided to obviously go with that. It is an accident, which is sensible. Let's see what happens with Warren, says Sarah in the chat. I followed the medium on here who drew a picture of what happened before he was found. She predicted sometime after a guy be arrested on driving offences and be found connected to the Jay Slater case. Yeah, let us see. To be honest with you, but like I said, we've covered everything in the case at the end of the day, and we've just got to let the case lie down, and anything does come out of it, we'll just have to wait and see. It is the lack of police investigations that has let this case down. None of the stuff on the internet matters during an inquest, but it's all there if the police do choose to open the investigations. Yeah, I agree. They're absolutely bent on. There are absolutely loads of videos. I remember hearing from you on someone's chat, and you were absolutely brilliant in some of the kind of comparisons you was actually making on this case and information you were actually coming up with. Michelle says the people who fought for closure of the case have won pretty much. I do hope Warren and Debbie will carry on the fight, but you and Wax and others have done all you can at this point. Well done. As a mother, I would fight until the dying day. We've all done well. I will never in a lifetime believe this poor lad's death is an accident. It's a sad story. All we can do is, like I said, is waiting to see what the family will say in the future, or like I said, Warren. But I'm sure he will put something out himself soon in what he wants, and that'll be good to hear. Going to move on to part 2. And some of the brilliant closing comments by Wax Unfiltered, who's got a massive channel now. Do go and subscribe to him. It was absolutely immense, brilliant on the Jay Slater case.
It was breaking down everything we learned through this inquest. There is so much to get through. But right now, I think it's only right that we let Jay rest, because the outcome is it was an accident. No matter what we believe, no matter what we think, no matter what we can prove, ultimately, it was an accident, officially. And therefore, it is down to the family to take it further if they don't believe in the conclusion and the outcome they've been given today. I do want to look at a few notes, just list maybe a few things that are questionable from the inquest. There's so many things on the list, to be quite fair. It makes me want to do more videos, but I feel like there's no point in doing them because the whole point in doing the videos is to get justice. There is no justice here, ladies and gentlemen. Something happened to Jay shortly after coming out of Papagayo nightclub. Someone took his phone and played out a narrative to make it look like Jay had lost his mind, he had done something wrong, he's gone off with two guys that we don't know, and unfortunately, you're never going to see him again. That's ultimately what that narrative tells you. The narrative that they painted, the narrative that they tried to make it look like Jay created. And when I say they made it look like Jay created it, it's because they said Jay filmed Ayub in the back of the car, saying that he is going to sell a Rolex. However, Ayub says he knows nothing about that. In fact, a new part of the story has been added, which Ayub's never told us before, even though he sat for 2 hours with Cullen on a podcast and spoke about the Rolex situation. Never mentioned this even then. But here we have Ayub telling us about a Romanian man trying to sell him a fake watch and trying to sell Jay a fake. He denied it, but he isn't too sure if Jay accepts it, which don't make any sense because there's a group. See how Brad kept referring to the group. Why would the Romanian only go up to Ayub and Jay and offer them this fake Rolex? Only Jay and Ayub, you know. The man only went up to Jay and Ayub and tried to sell them the replica Rolex. He didn't go up to Brandon, didn't go up to Lucy, didn't approach Brad, didn't approach anyone else in the group. He just went up to Jay and he went up to Ayub. See, it's Ayub telling us that segment of the story for the first time, although he's been on a 2-hour podcast, he's been on multiple live streams, telling us his side of the story for the past 13 months. He's never mentioned that ever. In fact, he has always denied the Rolex thing until Jay's friend Sol went on the live stream and stuck it on Rocky about the Rolex. The following day, Ayub says that Sol was telling the truth. A fight did break out and a Rolex was stolen. It was a green Hulk. As I told you, ladies and gentlemen, that situation never happened. If it happened, why did Ayub not mention it in the inquest? If it happened, why couldn't it get verified by Mark Williams Thomas? If it happened, why couldn't it get verified by the police or the media? Like I told you, ladies and gentlemen, by Ayub mentioning that tells us that he's the one that made it up. He's the one that fabricated that story to make it look like Jay stole a Rolex. Hence why he's the only person out of the group that would have been outside Magic Mike's or in Magic Mike's, where the Romanian man would have come along and offered them this replica Rolex. He's the only one that can tell you that side of the story. Brad can't tell you anything about the Rolex. Lucy can't tell you anything about the Rolex. Rocky can't tell you anything because he wasn't there. And Brandon hasn't mentioned anything. Although Brad said that Brandon knows more about the Rolex situation than he does. The only person that has been able to tell us anything about the Rolex was Ayub. Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Everybody has been played. And this is the reason why I can't play anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. I hope you got right to the end because we literally told you exactly what it is. They know that I know what they did last summer. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel if we are newly watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Turn those notification bells on so you don't miss out on future videos. And I do look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.
That was Wax and Filtered, him bowing out of the Jay Slater case as well as Hayley Comet. I mean, our videos are out there for people that haven't seen them. Go back to the early start. If you're new to my channel, go back to the earlier videos. Go back to Wax's and Hayley Comets. There's some brilliant points there. And also the brilliant Duncan go back to his earlier videos if you want to find out more about Tenerife, the people on the ground there, the Spanish interpretations, which Duncan has made as well, which are absolutely brilliant. And there are so many channels which fell away. Some of them were threatened, just decided to give it up. And it's such a shame that it's come to this. But like I said, we've, in my opinion, we've just got to wait until whether Warren says anything. You know, we've heard that he's not happy with the result, but we just have to wait and see what happens there. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. I'm still looking into a lot of things. You know, I won't actually be talking about the Jay Slater case, should I say, but I will be looking into the way the Guardia Civil operate, CCTV down the strip, which I'm all looking into. We've got some really good people on the case, so we're going to have a lot of those videos coming up soon. I've also replied to Streamliners today, but we'll get you know, I'll read all the Streamline messages out tomorrow now, because this will be the second video for tomorrow. Let me know what you think. I thought Wax was absolutely brilliant. Mamadi as well. Also Hayley Comet. Duncan's been magnificent on this, and he is still going. And any help, I've said any help that he needs with anything or needs me to put something out, I will do it on my channel, because I'm not just about to give up on the Jay Slater case or on basically stuff what happened to him in Tenerife. And this is why I'm doing my own investigations, to be honest with you, behind the scenes. And like I said, if there's a chance to make a documentary and I get some truths, I'm going to put them out. I'm going to put my documentary out there as well. Thank you very much, people. Love you lots.